This is Matt Russell, and welcome to the Daily FX Forum.
So here are the 5 pairs that I will be discussing this evening: the Euro Pound, the Aussie Kiwi, the Pound Swiss, the Euro Swiss, as well as the Euro Aussie. So let's go ahead and pull up the charts. First chart is the Euro Pound. The short trade from 88.23 continues. I would keep that stop at 88.75. As I mentioned during yesterday's report, the short trade from 87.75 with a stop at 88.10 was stopped out. As I've been mentioning for the past several weeks, I do believe that this 88.40 area should be stiff resistance over the next several weeks or months. With that being said, I would go ahead and re-enter here on the short side, so that would be short. Let's call it 88.10, and I would keep that stop at 88.75. But again, hopefully most of you are already in the trade from the more favorable price at 88.23, and again would keep that same stop at 88.75. The next chart is the Aussie Kiwi, and prices have broken above this channel resistance line right here, which I explained yesterday. The stop should be at 127.10, and prices did get up to about 26.97, so there is a chance that you were stopped out already, or you will be within a few minutes here, as prices are hugging near that 127 figure, and that's okay. That's just part of trading. I would just stay on the sidelines here, but I would also have a tentative bearish bias against this resistance line, and that's just a simple, straightforward resistance line connecting this high over here as well as this spike high right there. The next chart is the Pound Swiss, and again we are trading the Euro Pound, which has been acting as the inverse of the Pound Swiss, so I'm just going to go ahead and stay on the sidelines with the Pound Swiss and again trade the Euro Pound. The next chart is the Euro Swiss, and again a little bit too volatile here in terms of price action. I would have a tentative bullish bias against the low of this very large candle here, which is 45.57, and also a bearish bias against the high, which is 48.07, but prices right now at 146.64, directly in the middle of the range, so no trades are setting up at the current moment, and again I'm just going to stay on the sidelines. The next chart is the Euro Aussie, and the short trade from 158.75 continues. Prices right now about 155.45. As I mentioned during yesterday's report, to put in limits at 155.10, prices have not gotten down to that level yet. What I would say right now is that if you have this position in two positions, let's say you have two standard lots or 2 mini lots, I'd go ahead right now and take half off the table, cancel that limit at 155.10, and hold the rest. So again, I would take half profits right now and hold the rest. If you only have this position in one position, let's say 1 mini lot or 1 standard lot, and you can't break it up, I would just go ahead and take the well over 300 pip gain in profits right now. Again, my name is Matt Russell. Thanks for listening, and please stay tuned for a preview of the Daily FX Forums. I want to take this opportunity to formally welcome you all to the Daily FX Forums. I want to go through the process of how I personally access the forums and how maybe you at home, if you want to access the forums in the future, might do so. The first thing you would do is go to www.dailyfx.com, and that will bring up, obviously, dailyfx.com, and usually there on the upper right hand corner I'll go ahead and click on where it says forum, and that will bring up the first page of the forums. And this view, I personally don't use this view, but this view actually shows you the most recent posts on all the threads within the different sections, and a little detail about those posts, so you can read through and see if there's something catches your interest. But personally, I go ahead and just click on forums and view them in the more traditional sense. Now, these are different threads within the forum. There's a section on education, such as Daily FX course instructor tips, which would be good for newer traders, and then for more advanced traders. And I just want to go ahead, personally, the way I use the forums is I would go through the individual threads, just looking for trade ideas, maybe looking at charts, looking at certain lines that maybe I didn't put up on my chart, but another trader might have put up on their chart. I tend to, shy away from using direct trade recommendations from other forum members, but it helps me to sort of even out my analysis, make sure that I'm seeing things with the right mind in terms of I might be missing stuff that other traders can see, and that's my personal way of using the forum. Every trader is going to be a little bit different in how they use it. So if you want to ask questions, if you want to become an active participant of the members, you would have to go ahead and register. So that's what I'm going to go through now, is the registration process. So assuming you're brand new to the forums, or maybe you've been here a few times and you're not really sure how it works, so I just want to walk through again the registration process. This would be the front page where you would access, or the previous page. You'd have the same little box here on the left-hand side. My username and password are already filled out here, but assuming you're a new member, you would click on where it says register, and that will bring up the registration page. If you give me one moment here while my browser loads. And actually first we're going to have some terms of service and DailyFX forum rules. I do suggest reading through the forum rules. Obviously, profanity and spam and things like that are not allowed, but it also gives you insight on how to use the forum and how different traders can use it in terms of their individual needs. So you would go down to the bottom there, you'd click on where it says I have read all the rules, and then you would go ahead to the register the formal registration page, and that will bring up here. And you can go ahead and select the username, and how about we'll use 4x, and that name is already in use, so maybe add a few more x's there. Again, it really, your individual username is up to you, and you go ahead and fill in your password, your email address. Now, the most difficult aspect of registration for the DailyFX forums will be figuring out these letters in the box here. Now, I'm a semi-intelligent person, but I have a very difficult time figuring out which letters and numbers to use. Now, there is a reason for this madness. It helps with security, but I would suggest just going ahead and keep on clicking that refresh image until something comes through that you can actually identify and see. Then you can go ahead and enter your birthday, but you can decide whether or not to display that to other forum members. And then also, if you were referred by somebody, you can enter that information there. The time zone, that should default to your computer, but you should double check and make sure. And then you can opt in, and I would suggest opting in for these emails if the administrators want to go ahead and send you some notices about the forum, and then you would complete registration. Now what happens is they would send you an email to the email address that you put up here, and that email will include a link, and all you would have to do is go ahead and click on that link, and that link will bring you inside the forum, and you would now be a member of the DailyFX forums. Again, this is Matt Russell. Thanks for listening.